Last week, we discussed the paradox of choice. The paradox of choice is a concept popularized by psychologist Barry Schwartz, suggesting that while having some choices is good, having too many choices can lead to negative outcomes. For more information on those negative outcomes, make sure you listen to last week's episode. But for now, welcome back to Savvy Psychologist. I'm your host, Dr. Monica Johnson. Every week on this show, I'll help you face life's challenges with evidence based approaches, a sympathetic ear, and zero judgment. Combating the paradox of choice involves adopting strategies that simplify decision making, reduce anxiety, and increase satisfaction with the choices made. Here are some effective strategies. The first one is to limit options. One of the most straightforward ways to combat the paradox of choice is to limit the number of options that are available. This can be done by setting criteria. So, establishing clear criteria for what you want can help narrow down choices. For example, if you're buying a new phone, decide on what the essential features are that you need and only consider models that meet those criteria. The second thing would be capping choices. So you want to decide in advance to limit the number of options you'll consider. So, for instance, you may choose to compare only the top 5 products in a category rather than reviewing every single available option. The second strategy is to embrace satisficing. Satisficing is a term coined by Herbert Simon, and it involves choosing an option that meets your minimum requirements rather than seeking the perfect choice. This approach reduces the stress of searching for the best possible option and increases satisfaction by setting realistic expectations. So, how do you go about doing this? You can set a threshold, determine what an acceptable option looks like, and select the first choice that meets these criteria. This can be used for everyday decisions like picking a restaurant or choosing a movie. The third strategy is to make important decisions first. So, decision fatigue can lead to poor choices as cognitive resources get depleted. To combat this, you want to prioritize decisions. What this means is tackle important decisions when your mind is fresh, usually earlier in the day. For instance, you want to make crucial business decisions in the morning rather than at the end of the workday. The fourth strategy is to use heuristics. Heuristics are simple, efficient rules or mental shortcuts that help make decisions more manageable. So, the thing I'll mention here is rule of thumb. What you want to do is develop personal rules of thumb for frequent decisions. For example, if you're choosing a new book, you might decide to read only those recommended by a trusted friend or a reputable book review site. Number five is to delegate or automate decisions. Some decisions can be delegated to others or automated to reduce the burden on yourself. In terms of delegating, you may want to allow others to make less critical decisions on your behalf. For instance, you may let a trusted colleague handle a routine work task for you. On the automation side, you may want to use technology to automate repetitive decisions. For example, you can set up automatic bill payments to avoid having to decide each month when and how to pay your bills. Number six is to reduce the time spent on decisions. So, imposing time constraints on decision making can prevent overthinking and reduce anxiety. So, how do you go about doing this? Well, one way is to set deadlines. Give yourself a specific amount of time to make a decision. For example, you may allocate 30 minutes to choose a restaurant for dinner. Number seven is to focus on the process and not the outcome. So, shifting your focus from the outcome of the decision to the process can help reduce the pressure and anxiety associated with making the perfect choice. Along with that, I would say enjoy the journey. So, appreciate the experience and learning involved in making the decision. This mindset can help reduce the fear of missing out on better alternatives. Number eight is to practice gratitude and contentment. Cultivating a mindset of gratitude and contentment can help you feel more satisfied with your choices. One way to do this is gratitude journaling. So, regularly write down things you're grateful for, including decisions you've made that have positive outcomes. Another way to practice this is through mindfulness. So, you want to practice mindfulness to stay present and appreciate what you have rather than constantly striving for more. Number nine is to seek feedback and reassurance. Getting feedback and reassurance from others can help validate your choices and reduce regret. Along with this, I would encourage to also consult others. Before making a significant decision, seek the opinions of trusted friends or family members. And then, lastly, with this, having a feedback loop. After making a decision, solicit feedback to understand what worked well and what could be improved for future choices. Number 10 is to embrace flexibility and adaptability. Recognizing that not all decisions are final and that it's possible to adjust your course can alleviate the pressure to make the perfect choice. And this is one of the reasons why I often suggest an iterative approach. So basically, what that means is you want to make incremental decisions and be open to adjusting based on new information or changing circumstances. Plan B is also something to think about. So, you want to always have a backup plan to fall back on, which can reduce the fear of making the wrong decision. By implementing these strategies, you can navigate the complexities of modern life more effectively, reducing the negative impact of having too many choices and enhancing overall satisfaction with your decisions. Which of these strategies will you try? Let me know. You can contact me on Instagram at KindMindPsych or via my email at psychologist@quickanddirtytips.com. The Savvy Psychologist is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Steve Rickyberg with script editing by Brandon Getches. Our podcast and advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchings. And our marketing and publicity associate is Davina Tomlin. Follow Savvy Psychologist on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's all for this episode of Savvy Psychologist. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.